sir.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. We'd like to welcome each and every one of you here tonight. I'd like to welcome our Senator Todd Johnson. I believe he's in the audience with us. Mr. Todd, welcome. Glad to have you with us, Senator. Item 1 on the agenda is oath of office. At this time, we'll take them A, B, C, and D, and I will be first. And then followed by Freddie Gordon, and Ms. James, and Lynn Gonzaga.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, so help you God? Do you solemnly and sincerely swear that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of this state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, so help you God?
I will.
Do you swear that you will well and truly execute the duties of the office of mayor according to the best of your skill and ability and according to the law, so help you God?
I will.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Thank you, sir. Yes, you are. Good or bad? My wife.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, so help you God?
I do.
Do you solemnly and sincerely swear that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of the United States to the best of your knowledge and ability, so help you God? Do you swear that you will well and truly execute the duties of the office of City Council Member according to the best of your skill and ability, according to law, so help you God?
I will.
Congratulations.
Mr. Kazai. You're up. Oh, Angelina. Excuse me.
Do you solemnly affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States, so help you God?
I do.
Do you solemnly and sincerely affirm that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional power and authorities which are and may be established for the government thereof, that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of this state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, so help you God?
I do.
Do you affirm that you will truly execute the duties of the office of City Council Member according to the best of your skill and ability and according to the law, so help you God?
I do.
Here it is.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, so help you God? Do you solemnly and sincerely swear that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of this United States to the best of your knowledge and ability, so help you God? And do you swear that you will well and truly execute the duties of the office of City Council Member according to the best of your skill and ability and according to the law, so help you God?
At this time, I would like to welcome our new members to the council. Ms. James, glad to have you with us. Look forward to working with you on behalf of the council. And Mr. Gordon, on behalf of the council, look forward to working with you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Kazire, welcome back.
Thank you.
Glad to have you with us. We'll all certainly strive to work good, and I'm certainly will represent the citizens of Monroe well. And so I look forward to working with each and every one of you, and congratulations again. We're certainly glad to have you. Item 2, election.
Mayor, I move
Mayor Pro
we
Tem.
nominate Marion Holloway as Mayor Pro Tem.
Have a nomination of Marion Holloway as Mayor Pro Tem. Do I have a second?
I'd like to make a nomination for a person that is a servant leader, objective, honest, intelligent, accountable, good listener, fair, is a visionary, diligent and dedicated. The nominee is Councilwoman Saluda Anthony. She served tremendously throughout her community. Her community involvement is where she served as a Rotary member, Order of the Eastern Star, adopt the senior program for Monroe Rehab volunteer, boards of community health services of Union County, CAG, which is Kids Achieving Greatness in Village Development, and member of the Ward 212 Women's Auxiliary. Regarding her city affiliation, she's the first black woman ever elected on Monroe City Council, currently serving on her second term. She's chaired Public Enterprise and Public Safety, served on Citizens Appointment and General Services Committees, CRTPO, and represents the city both locally and nationally on several other boards. From her lengthy resume, there is no doubt that she will serve well as Mayor Pro Tem for our city council. Thank you.
No, you don't have to. You said there have been two names placed in nomination. You can just ask two individuals. Ask if there are any other nominations.
Are there any other nominations? Here none?
Then just go ahead and have a vote for Marion Holloway, and then vote for.
Okay, Holloway being nominated first. Did I have a second on Marion?
I second.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. How many is that? One, two, three, four, five. Okay, five. All,
You need a second. Then if you're going to do it the same way, Mayor, you need a second then for Councilmember
Yeah,
Anthony, and then.
I have a motion for Ms. Anthony. Do I have a second? I'm sorry.
She seconded.
I second
herself. She
myself.
can do that.
Do
Yes,
it.
sir. Yeah, there's a second. It's
Yeah.
Councilmember
All
Anthony.
right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor for Ms. Anthony?
For the motion.
I'm sorry.
Go
No,
for-
it's actually, it's a vote. I think what the mayor was doing was making sure there was a seconder for
okay,
each one. and
okay.
this is
Yeah,
the
we got a
vote.
second.
So you already have, I
Okay.
think, 5 have voted for Councilmember Holloway, but then there's still a vote for Councilmember Anthony.
Right, I had a motion and I had a second. All in favor for Ms. Anthony?
We do by raise of hand, Mayor, that would be.
Raise your hand. 1, 2. Okay. Very good. Congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem Holloway. Item 3, public comment period at this time, and I'll see what I've got signed up here. I don't have anything on public comment yesterday. Give me 1 minute. The ones that signed up to speak on this Ellen G. Fitzgerald Center won't be under this particular. I'm going to get public comment first, and we'll do this under the regular agenda when it comes up, the item on the agenda. Bye, folks. Okay, let's do. I have one, if I'm reading it right, for the actually public comment period. As I said, the one signed up for the Fellow Fitzgerald, we'll take that when we get to the item on the agenda. So it looks like Mr. Yanacek, on 513 Everett Street, we recognize you at this time, sir. 3 minutes.
All right, thanks, sir. I appreciate it. And welcome, Angela, to the City Council. I was looking at the agenda the other day, and I had a question about the citizen appointment process. I know the citizens committees are a vital part of the City of Monroe. They actually make a lot of decisions that City Council follows. And I noticed that the meeting was held yesterday at 4 p.m. and decision was made for certain members to be appointed, which I'm great. There's some new faces on some of those committees. And one familiar face was Mr. Gary Anderson. And my concern or question is to council or Mr. Majib is if you're a sitting chairperson on a committee that appoints the committee members, how does that, is there a conflict of interest or how, normally there's only 3 members that are on the Citizens Appointment Committee. Mr. Anderson, Ms. Anthony, and Mr. Holloway. So if he didn't recuse himself from the decision to recommend himself to the committee, then I'm not sure he would have a quorum. And my concern is the recommendations. We don't have minutes from the meeting yet because it was held yesterday. I was curious about the discussion or the process that was used to assign the members. And I know I talked to Majib today at reference. Most of the committees have the option to have up to 9 members, and for whatever reason, that committee only has 3, and they're all city council members. I think from the recent election and things we know that citizens want to be extremely involved with the process, I think we should have 9 people on that committee, which would mean there should be 6 citizens instead of just 3 city council members making all decisions for assigning the committee members. And I know it's up to the council to make that decision to broaden that pool of people. So that's my comment. I like it when number 19 comes up, you take in consideration those appointees, that you address that situation as far as how that occurred. Thanks, sir.
All right. On the regular, anyone here who would like to address the council on the public comment period? I hear none. We'll move to the consent agenda. No, I'm sorry. Item 4. Item 4.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
my name is Lynn Kazire, and Councilmember Marion Holloway have requested that council discuss moving the city council meetings to the 4th Monday of each month. Following this schedule, the meeting dates would be January 27th, February 24th, March 23rd, April 20th, budget workshop, April 27th, May 18th, June 22nd, July 27th, August 24th, September 28th, October 26th, November 23rd, and December 14th. Please note the following exception to this schedule. Budget work session scheduled for April 20th due to the Memorial holiday falling on May the 25th. The date has been changed to Monday, May 18th. And due to Christmas and New Year's holidays, the December 28th meeting has been changed to December the 14th.
Okay.
So moved.
Anyone, I got a motion. Anyone, any comment?
I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't object to changing it, but I would request that we table it until we can get all of the exact dates. But I have no problem in changing it.
Actually, you have the exact dates, in fact, in the agenda item in the staff report. I believe Councilmember Keziah just read those dates, but the dates were provided in the staff report. Go through those again if there's any questions. I would note for council that if you do not adopt a meeting schedule tonight, state law does solve the problem for you. It will require you to hold your meetings the first Monday of every month at 10 a.m. if you'd like to be there. So council, we would suggest that you agree on a schedule. If not, we'll see you all on January the 7th at 10 a.m.
I believe she said she
I
withdrew.
would send.
But I think you have a motion from
Any other
Councilmember
comments?
Keziah. You don't have a second yet.
Okay, I have a motion, have a second.
And then the Mayor Pro Tem Holloway just seconded it. So you have a motion second if you have any
Okay, any other comments?
Mayor, I've expressed this to some of the people, have a little bit of angst with it. My angst comes from the tradition of the first Tuesday in the month. I've talked to about everybody that I can talk to that's been around city government, and we've always had the meeting for many decades on the first Tuesday of every month, and of course, before, we always had it on the third Tuesday of the month. But when we went to the one meeting, it did remain that one Tuesday. And I think tonight might be some evidence other than the signing, oath of office and things, but I think most of our citizens, 35,000, know that the city council meets on the first Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. It's also a day that is important, I think, personally to our staff. You're talking about another 450 people, and that doesn't affect all of them, but many of the department heads, the administrative people, et cetera, use that day and are scheduled to perform those things that they need to do to prepare us for committees and boards and the council. And we have a structure in place. Typically, this council has had a committee structure that I think has served us well. Most of our initiatives come from the ground up through committee, which allows us time for discussion, some reasoning, hopefully, maybe a little debate, hopefully a consensus, and then we vote to bring it to council. I like things that come from the bottom and go to the top instead of coming from the top and affecting so many people and going to the bottom here. So I have a little angst about it, and I believe that more people would be affected by changing it to a date other than the first Tuesday of the month, 6 p.m.
Freddie, I agree with what you're saying. I would say I work a lot with a lot of this paperwork, and I don't want to sound like I do it all. I do very little bit of it. But what I know about it is when we got all this stuff to set up and get the agendas fixed for city council, and I may not say this as well as some of the other folks, but they have Monday to make any changes to get ready for Tuesday. Now, if we change this to Monday, if any changes come up dealing with the newspapers or whatever, they're gonna have to do this on Sunday. They're gonna have to do it on Sunday to come in at 4 o'clock Monday morning. And there's a lot of changes done on Monday for Tuesday, so everything is not as set in stone. When this agenda is made and through, if it's Thursday or Friday or whenever it's done, it's not set in stone because each one of you know it changes every time, more than one. I don't think I'd be out of step to ask, how many times was it changed before it come today? I'll ask Bridget.
5 to 6.
I don't mean to put you on the spot. I just need to, it was changed 5 or 6 times, and when you gonna change it if we meet on Monday unless you change it on Sunday? I can come Monday, Tuesday, or whatever. It doesn't matter. I can come any day. But I'm thinking about the public, as you said. We've been doing this Tuesdays for 30, maybe 40 years on Tuesday. That don't mean it can't be done another day, by no means. But the change is gonna cause so much change. It'll be a hardship for the staff. Yes, can they adapt? Absolutely. 6 months, 2 years, you won't know the difference. But it's that 6 months, 2 years, but they still gonna be doing some changes on Sunday or early Monday morning. It's just, I just think it's a bad thing to do. That's my opinion.
I had not thought from that standpoint.
It's
I
just
know
gonna
we
make a
only have
mess.
2 clerks.
I'm sorry.
I'm thinking we have 2 clerks. I had not thought about that.
It's gonna be a mess. I'm gonna tell you, I know how many changes they make, and I'm sure, and I know y'all know they make a lot of changes. As she says today, there's 5 changes. made before we had this meeting today. I mean, if we meet on Monday, they're gonna have to come to work at 4 o'clock in the morning or do some work on Sunday to get this agenda ready to go. And it's not about just one agenda. She's dealing with a half a dozen or more committees that we deal with. Paperwork, paperwork, paperwork. I'll recognize you in a minute, sir. Okay. Anyone else got anything before we vote? Hearing none, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Actually, Mayor,
I'm
I
sorry.
think you said were you gonna hear from the gentleman?
Well, I was
before you
gonna
voted,
put him
or-
on another committee. But yes, sir, if you'll come to the podium, sir, I was gonna recognize you at another time, but be better. If you'll give us your name for the record.
Yes, my name is Gordon Barnes.
Yes, sir.
And I live at 2905 Telefair Lane, Monroe. I have a silly question.
Yes, sir.
What is the purpose of the proposed change from a Tuesday to this other day? What is the purpose?
Somebody made the motion and seconded. I haven't been given all that information. I was told that it was coming up to be changed, and I think it's to accommodate some of the jobs or some of the council people's jobs. Ms. James, I believe, is one. That affects your schedule,
Yeah, Coach, on Tuesdays.
so it's affect, does it affect anybody else's schedule? Probably not. So it's a schedule thing. But it's just, it's gonna cost.
Change always
I'm
costs
sorry.
money.
I'm
Yes.
sorry.
So change always costs money, so my question is, what is the least cost?
What is the least?
Yeah, what is the least cost? Is it keeping the way it is, or?
Well, that's certainly the way I'm gonna vote. I don't know how the rest of them will vote, but I hear what Mr. Gordon has said.
Because the money comes from here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the cost would be the same whether you meet on Monday or
Right.
Tuesday.
Okay, yeah.
But what I'm talking about, Mr. Gordon, and maybe somebody else agree, is the paperwork that has to be ready for this Tuesday meeting. And a lot of it is done throughout the week and on Monday.
Right.
And if any changes for Tuesday, this is when they're gonna be doing it. Or they're gonna have to figure out a way to do these changes. And she just said she made 5 changes before we got here today.
Right, so the feeling is that the way that it is probably better?
Well, it's individual, whatever the individual thinks.
Right.
I think it'd be better to leave it Tuesday.
Right. It
But
was
I
just a-
don't know what these folks think.
Just a question.
That's my thinking, and, well, we're gonna fix to find out here in just a minute. Any other discussion?
You got an assistant,
I have a motion and a second. All in favor of changing?
you got an assistant. Coach, you want some more?
1, 2, 3. That's 3 in favor, all opposed?
Say no.
Yeah, no. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it will not change, it'll remain the same.
Now, Mayor, you can as council has done to accommodate schedule needs of council members for meetings as also, for example, when you have league meetings or NLC, you can also modify the schedule on occasion. So if there is an issue for a council member, I believe Councilmember James is saying there's an issue, you could modify it for the days it's necessary. And if the coaching is year round, that's one issue obviously that you deal with. If it is not, if it is just say for a 1 to 2 month period for a season, that may be easier for the council. And if that, so what, we need you to then do is first go ahead and adopt your schedule, but then you can talk about modifying the schedule if you need to, but we
Well,
would
if we
like
don't
you to,
modify it, we ought to do it right now.
we would like you to adopt a schedule, and to adopt a schedule, and then you could make the changes based on the
Mayor.
needs of the
If we're
individual.
gonna modify it,
Mayor.
we need to modify it. We ain't let it-
I'm gonna make another motion that, the modification takes January and February and November and December, and everything else stays the
That
same.
ain't gonna change a thing in the world on the paperwork, Lynn. You still got these ladies and the guys that doing this paper, it ain't gonna change one thing. Now, I don't have a problem working with anybody, and we'll work with Ms. James. I will personally work with Ms. James along with you, and we should, because we work with every council member. But there's not no point, in my opinion, doing 3 months or against 12 months. If you're gonna do it, just do it. But it's not gonna help the staff.
Okay.
Mayor,
Now, I'll work with Ms. James any way I can. I
Mayor,
promise
may I
you that.
may I do something that my wife reminds me is always good when I try to offer a solution, which means she says, no, it's not good. On those days, if your concern is the Monday, creating demands on staff, and I'll defer to the manager or the clerk, on the days that these issues are taking place, would it work to move the meeting to Wednesday for those
Yeah.
4-month period? Is that
You
a
don't need
solution,
your money.
Mayor, or is that, Mayor, I just throw that out there as to give you an option to
Well,
consider.
if you do 3 months or 4 months, why don't we just do 12?
No, that's, that,
Now, I'm not trying to take the floor. You folks,
I'm
talk.
also an offer up as.
I have a question.
When we do it on, as needed, y'all work with me if I need to be gone to a meeting. I work with you, we'll work with me.
I'm gonna make a
That's what
motion
we
that
did
we
the
do it as needed.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's what Majid was saying, Mayor. Like, as it comes up, then.
For
we
1
make
month, we'll be
adjustments.
meeting on Monday, 3 months, we're gonna meet on
No, we're
Tuesday.
still meeting on Tuesdays. It's just that whenever there's a conflict.
she needs
we
Monday.
meet on Wednesday.
Wasn't it Monday?
We'll handle it at that
would just
time.
handle it that time,
Yeah.
or it could be another Tuesday, or
Right.
whatever the schedule permits.
Well, what you would have to do is you need to adopt the schedule. And then if you're gonna make a change for the January meeting, you'll need to do that tonight as well, because you're not gonna be together as a group until January the
Right.
7th. So, the su-
We're gonna
yes,
wind
and
up
the
with-
suggestion we would have is, because there is another issue that comes up, is that you have 2 items that were tabled to the January 7 meeting, that need to, then depending on what date you hold the January meeting, you'll need to table those items to the new date. So what we would encourage you from a staff perspective is go ahead and adopt a schedule. And then, right now, you can amend the schedule for the first month if you need to, and then handle it as you need for future months by council action or by the mayor's request.
Every year on the schedule, as long as I can remember, and you folks will agree, we've always changed meeting dates periodically to make things fit. 4th of July being one, or any holidays. And we can do the same thing with, but if we're gonna amend this thing for 3 months and do a hodgepodge meeting, there ain't nobody gonna know when it comes. Y'all gonna have to call me and tell me what day I need to meet, you know?
Again,
It's a
I'm
hot-
gonna make the suggestion that we amend it as necessary when needed.
Well, that's what we've been doing for 40 years. We do it on a day by month basis, instead of setting a schedule here. Well, the next 3 months, we're gonna meet on Monday or Tuesday, or the 4th, and the next one, we're gonna meet here. It's a hodgepodge situation. Let's either do it all, this is me saying it, or do it on base by base as the lady needs it. Y'all do it for me, we've done it for every council member sitting here.
That was the motion.
Okay, I have a motion. Will you make the motion again, please?
No,
Well, I think, Mayor, you don't have a motion.
We don't
She
have
just
a
I
motion.
did make a motion. Yes, I did.
I've got a motion
Well,
right
it's
here.
not been seconded, so.
Well,
is
I
the
haven't
motion-
asked for a second.
I would ask the maker of the motion, is the motion then to set the meetings for January 7, February 4, March 3, April 7, April 21 for a budget workshop, May 5, June 2,
No, sir, it
July
is not.
21,
It is
August
not.
18, September 1, October 6, November 3, and December 1.
My motion was that we change it, amend it as necessary.
Ma'am, you do not have an adopted schedule yet, so what I am suggesting is you have to adopt a schedule first before you can amend it.
Before you can amend
We
it.
fix to do that. We're gonna adopt the schedule, and then after we adopt the schedule, she can make that motion.
She could make that after that. What you don't have is a schedule to adopt yet.
I moved
No
that
one
we,
has made a motion to adopt the
I moved that
schedule.
we adopt the schedule.
Shall have a motion to move.
Can I have a clarification from the maker of the motion?
The existing schedule, I
Is
moved
the,
it.
the schedule that was originally proposed by the clerk, that's in the second paragraph of the staff report,
Report.
and the one I just read into the record. That's the schedule that you are moving to adopt.
The one that's in the staff report, yes, I am.
Which is the what,
The
First-
traditional first
Tuesday.
Tuesday
First Tuesday, right.
with modifications as needed
needed.
for July, August,
Exactly.
and,
I don't have a problem
that's
with
it, just July and August, and also to add a budget workshop date.
okay. Has it been second?
She's made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. That's, all right, now we're ready for another motion that you was
Now,
gonna make.
now,
I
do
don't have
you,
another one.
now the question is, do you need to amend the January meeting to accommodate the schedule needs of Councilmember James?
We don't know yet.
Yes,
Well, actually, you can ask her.
yes.
Okay, okay, do you need February?
Yes.
Okay, we need January and February. How about March?
No.
Don't need, how about April?
November
Like I
and
said, it's
December.
hodgepodge.
Mayor, with respect, you can just do the first
Okay.
2 months and be done
Very
with it.
good.
Yes.
Make your
And
motion.
move on.
I move that we amend the January and February meetings.
I have a motion, do I have a
To
second?
what date, to what date? Would it be to a Monday or to a Wednesday
Let's
or
Let's
to
do
the
the
next week?
Not to make, call everybody
Let's do the
individually.
Wednesday.
Wednesday,
Let's
give
do the
everybody
Wednesday.
time.
What
So
about the
then,
date?
so your motion is to amend the schedule to then the meeting will be January 8th and February 5th. Is
And,
that-
yeah, January
Not
8th,
January
5th,
8th.
that's correct.
Yes, I think she's asking for Wednesdays, what she,
Oh,
Wednesday's
okay,
fine.
Wednesday, January, yeah.
so it would be to modify the adopted schedule
just
for
2 dates,
January
right?
8th and February 5 right now.
Just 2 days.
I need
Yeah.
May, I'll take May, June, and July.
Mayor, what would you like to, well, there's one motion on the table at a time, Mayor. Are you
All right, I have a
making
motion. Okay, I have a motion.
Has the motion been seconded?
I got Miss Anthony's motion. I have a second.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. Well, I got a second. All in favor? Aye. I oppose. Any, I takes it.
Mayor,
One opposed.
one other thing then, you need to now amend, you need to table the Winchester Recreation Complex identification signage revision item and the city council planning retreat and goal setting session items to the January 8 council meeting.
Okay.
You moved it a day, those need to be moved one day.
I move to table, the Winchester signage issue and the retreat issue to, January 8th.
I second that as well.
Okay, I have a motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that passed.
And then I would just note that our planning board meets on Wednesday, so we will have to work with planning board. I believe the planning board has a meeting fairly soon, is that correct, or they already met? They meet tomorrow, so they will just need to modify their schedule to meet yours. But we just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that. Thank you for your patience.
Okay. Well, that's what it's all about. If everybody agrees, we won't need but one. Let me see. Consent agenda.
Consent agenda.
All right, Mr. Ferry, consent agenda, please.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. City Council uses a consent agenda to consider items that are non-controversial and routine. The consent agenda is acted upon by one motion and vote of the council. Items may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda at the request of a council member or citizen with the consent of council. The consent agenda contains the following items. Item 5 is for the purpose of adopting a budget amendment accepting 2 donations totaling $925 and appropriating them for use by the Monroe Explorer program of the police department. Item 6 is for the purpose of calling for 7 public hearings to receive public comments at the first council meeting in January, which is the 8th of January. To receive public comments at, which will, so the first hearing concerns potential grant to the United States Department of Justice to take action following the public hearing to approve acceptance of the grant and adopt a budget amendment in the amount of $14,518. Proposed use of funds to support a new canine program. The second hearing concerns land acquisition for economic development purposes located at 205 West East Avenue containing approximately .171 acres and is located in the Concord Avenue Master Plan Study Area. The next 5 calls for hearings involve request to rezone property by amending the Code of Ordinances, Section 156.106, titled Official Zoning Map, and Section 156.98, titled Conditional Districts Established. Running through those calls for hearings. The third involves rezoning property located along Fowler Seacrest Road from residential low density to conditional district Stewart's Creek. The fourth involves rezoning property located at 1707 Morgan Mill Road from conditional district North Square 6 to conditional district 1707 Morgan Mill Road. The fifth involves rezoning property located at 319 East Windsor Street from Central Business District to Conditional District 319 East Windsor Street. The sixth and seventh call for hearing involves rezoning property located at 303 Dale Street, 2830, 2840, and 2846 Old Charlotte Highway from residential single family R10 and R20 to conditional district Ground 40 Farm Dale Street and Ground 40 Old Charlotte Highway. Item 7 involves minutes and reports lettered A through G. Item 7A involves disbursements from City Council's discretionary fund. There were 2 sets of disbursements. Former Councilmember Anderson disbursed $125 to Ground 40. Councilmember Anthony disbursed $23 to Sports to You. Item 7B concerns financial reports, and as a summary, I'll highlight several fund balance amounts that are as of November 12, 2019. The total fund balance is in excess of $33 million. A few subsets of the total fund balance are fund balance reserved by policy is $10.6 million. The unassigned general fund balance is $4.5 million. Total assigned fund balance is $3.6 million. There are 5 sets of minutes lettered 7C through E that are part of the agenda package. Item F is summary of contracts awarded, change orders approved, and city manager's settlement of claims. There are 21 contracts for the period totaling a little more than $211,000. Item 7G is for information only, an update. We're offering an update for the utility fee waiver program. The program encourages homes to be built for people who are certified as income eligible at the time of the house purchase. There have been 20 recipient properties since the program's inception in July 2015. The recipients have received amounts between $3,000 and $7,600 as utility fee waivers. The recipients have, and lastly, there is a balance of $30,000 remaining in the program. Item 8 is for the purpose of approving change order 7 and is related budget ordinance involving the Monroe Science Center construction project in the amount of $76,743. The change order entails work for pavement modifications for the East Drive and removal and replacement of asphalt on the north side of the building. Item 9 is for the purpose of applying for the instructor training grant for evidence-based physical activity programs by our Parks and Recreation Department. If awarded, the grant will be used to train staff at the Ellen Fitzgerald Senior Center to implement those programs for patrons. The grant does not require a city match amount for funding. Item 10 is for the purpose of amending Chapter 76, Parking Schedule 6, tow-away zones by designating the Old City Hall parking lot as a tow-away zone for illegally parked vehicles. Item 11 is for the purpose of accepting the donation of yoga items from Sarah Jensen, valued at approximately $450. These donated articles are intended for use at the Ellen Fitzgerald Senior Center. Item 12 is for the purpose of renewing the lease with Union County Community Action for the Head Start programs. The property is located at 1105 Winchester Avenue. The lease term is for 10 years beginning January 1st, 2020, and is proposed under the same terms and conditions as the previous and original lease. Item 13 is for the purpose of approving the schedule of city events for 2020. And item 14 is for the purpose of approving tax releases for the month of October in the amount of $48,691.89 that was created by a change or reduction in value in the city of Monroe by the Union County Tax Assessment. Briefly, there were 4 large releases that inflated this month's amount over recent releases, which included these entities: Union Power in the amount of approximately $24,000, IMET Properties in an amount of $9,500, the Community Shelter in the amount of approximately $4,500, and Cortez Wrangle in the amount of $6,600. Mayor and members of City Council, this concludes my summary of items placed on the consent agenda for your consideration.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that'll pass. We'll move into our regular agenda at this time. Okay. 15. Item 15, annual financial report.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm Lisa Strickland. I'm with the Finance Department. I am the Finance Director. And tonight, the Finance Department and Martin Starnes and Associates wish to present the comprehensive annual financial report for the City of Monroe for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2019. Miss Elsa Watts is here from Martin Starnes, and she's going to present the CAFR and highlight the results of the annual audit that was performed on the city's financial records. A copy of the financial report is at your seat, and there'll be an electronic copy on the city's website beginning tomorrow. Let me get this pulled up. Bruce? I have it, but it's not up there. Sorry, I can't remember. There we go.
Good evening. On behalf of Martin Starnes and Associates, I'd like to present the City of Monroe's 2019 audited financial statements. Some audit highlights. The city received an unmodified opinion. This is a clean audit opinion. I'd like to thank Lisa Strickland, as well as Ashley Ivy, and the rest of the finance department for all of their hard work on the audit this year. They stay in contact with us throughout the year, and anytime we request information, they provide that timely to us. It truly is a pleasure working with the City of Monroe, and we hope to continue that working relationship. So look at your general fund. Revenues for the year totaled $42.2 million. This is an increase of about 17%. Expenditures for the year were $34.5 million, an increase of about 1%, and I will detail these further along in the presentation. The LGC defines available fund balance as total fund balance less any non-spendable items which are not in cash form, less items restricted by state statute. The LGC uses this calculation to compare you to other units. Looking at your fund balance position for the general fund, total fund balance was at $33.4 million, less non-spendable items of $856,000, less items restricted by state statute of $6.4 million. This gives you an available fund balance of $26.1 million. This is an increase in available fund balance of $3.9 million. This increase in available fund balance can be attributed to a few factors, one being $1.2 million increase in property tax revenues, which is due to a 3-cent property tax increase. Investment earnings also increased by $3.5 million due to a favorable mark-to-market adjustment at year-end. Less installment purchase obligations issued during the year decreased due to only one fire apparatus being purchased. They decreased by about $979,000. Looking at a snapshot of your total revenues, property taxes were at 53% of total revenues. Sales and services were 6%. Unrestricted intergovernmental revenues were at 25%. Restricted intergovernmental revenues, which are your federal and state grants, were at 4%. And then other revenues were at 12%. Property taxes were at $22.3 million, an increase of about 6% there. Unrestricted intergovernmental revenues were $10.4 million, an increase of about 4%. Sales and services were at $2.5 million, an increase of less than 1%. And expenditures for the general fund, you had public safety at 60%, culture and recreation at 15%, general government at 12%, transportation at 8%, and debt service was at 5%. General government had expenditures of $4 million, and this is an increase of about 11%. This increase is due to increases in capital outlay. Transportation was at $2.9 million. This is an increase of less than 1%. Public safety was at $20.7 million, a decrease of less than 2%. Culture and recreation remained comparable at about $5.1 million. And then taking a look at your enterprise funds, your water and sewer fund had unrestricted net position of $34.2 million with an operating income of $9.6 million. The electric fund had unrestricted net position of $58.1 million and an operating income of $6.3 million. Natural gas fund had unrestricted net position of $30.8 million and an operating income of $5.9 million. The airport had unrestricted net position of negative $401,000 and an operating loss of $1.3 million. The non-major enterprise funds, which include solid waste, aquatic and fitness center, and stormwater, had unrestricted net position of $2.9 million and an operating income of $341,000. I also have some cash flow from operation and unrestricted cash information presented below. This does conclude my presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you very much. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd also like to say that it's a pleasure to work with Martin Starnes, and I'd like to thank Ashley Ivy, even though she wasn't able to be here for tonight's meeting. She really heads up this project, and she's a great asset to finance.
Thank you.
And thank you all for your support.
Y'all do a great job. Thank you very much. How many years you on your,
I believe 5.
For the financial award, it's like 30. I believe it's 30.
30 years?
It's close to 30.
Lisa,
6 on
I
the
want
audit.
to thank you and your staff for not only a good job, but a great job. And how many cities collect 99.9% Avalon taxes? Isn't that what you did?
Yes,
That's phenomenal.
thanks.
Ashley couldn't be with us tonight.
No. Good reasons. She had her baby.
Twin boys.
A girl and a boy.
Girl and a boy. I was trying to get you to say twins. Very good. Congratulations to them folks, and thank you for a great job y'all folks do. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Good job.
Okay. Okay, item 16, senior center facility signage tabled to October, 1st of October. Okay,
You want me to introduce it?
yes.
Okay, Mayor, members of City Council, just as a summary statement, initially the summary statement, the General Services Committee initially heard a request from Councilmember Keziah to name the new proposed senior facility in a manner that recognized P.E. Bazemore. The committee recommended this initiative to City Council, which heard the request on October 1st and tabled discussion to this evening, December 3rd. Additionally, as some other background information, the request had been made, as I've mentioned, by City Council Member Keziah to provide an opportunity for discussion and to explore the naming of this new senior facility in a manner that would continue to recognize P.E. Bazemore, a past council member. On September 12th of this year, the General Services Committee favorably recommended the naming of the new senior facility in a manner that recognized P.E. Bazemore. The topic was initially considered at the October 1st regular meeting and was tabled to allow additional community involvement in the naming of this new senior center. The community center at the Winchester Recreation Complex was named for P.E. Bazemore in February 1989. However, at the August 20th regular meeting, City Council heard from chairperson and City Council member from the Winchester Community Committee, Councilmember Saluda Anthony, requesting consideration for the renaming of that community center. This item was tabled until October 1st to allow for the circulation of a petition that could measure neighborhood interest for renaming the P.E. Bazemore Community Center. At the October 1st meeting, City Council, at that meeting, they renamed the facility as the Winchester Community Center. The existing senior center is named Ellen Fitzgerald Senior Center. Staff indicates multiple inquiries from the senior center patrons suggesting a potential names for the new senior facility to be located at the former EJ building. Patron interests have included retaining the current name, Ellen Fitzgerald, for branding and identification purpose, while others have expressed a different name might provide an opportunity to broaden the base. Lastly, We understand that emerging trends amongst recreation programmers is to de-emphasize the use of senior in the facility's name, due in part to the emergence of names referring to active adult centers as the norm for these facilities. The question before City Council is whether to name the proposed new senior center and whether to name it in a manner that recognizes P.E. Bazemore or someone else. Council is not required to take action to name the proposed new senior center.
I have a question. Do you have a percentage of the patrons of the center wishing to retain the name?
Okay. We'll have several people signed up to speak, and I'm going to take them in the order they signed. And if you will, please hold your comments to 3 minutes, if you will, please. And the first one signed up is Mr. Carroll. Is it Draper, Forest Hill Drive? We recognize you at this time. Please, ma'am. You'll give us your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Carol Draper. I'm at 112 Forest Hills Drive in Monroe. And I'm here in regards to the senior center. We moved here from California 14 years ago. I joined the senior center immediately. Anybody you talk to knows it as the Fitzgerald Senior Center. And anytime people ask about it, we say it's a Fitzgerald. They know it by that name. You're moving locations. You're not, what's the purpose of changing the name when people know it as the Fitzgerald Center? I mean, everybody knows it as that name.
Yeah, well, if you're asking me the question, I'll answer it this way. I don't know what the council will vote or whatever, but my understanding is they're not changing the name. Ellen Fitzgerald will remain there forever, ever, amen. If the council, I don't know how the council would vote. If the question is to me, whether to change it, to put the name over here of Mr. Bazemore or not. But we're not going to take Ellen Fitzgerald from that area, if I understand it correct. I stand to be corrected.
Right, you're not changing the name of that building. Why can't you take the name with you to the new senior center when it's already known as the Fitzgerald Senior Center?
Well, that's what the council, that's what we're going to be discussing and what they're going to be voting on. Yes,
Because there's several of us concerned, because
Yes.
whenever we, I tell people all the time, because I mean, with moving cross country, you don't meet people, and it's been a wonderful place to, and that's what people know it as, so I can't. Several of us are concerned that we would like it to stay the same.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Singer, I have you signed up. Is that to speak on the Ellen Fitzgerald Center, or is that on something else?
No, it's something else.
Okay, the way I was reading it, it looked that way. Okay, I'll come back to you later then.
Thank you.
Patricia Poland on 2303 Somerset. We recognize you at this time, please, ma'am.
Patricia Poland, live at 2307 Snowcrest Court in Monroe. Have you decided what you're going to do with the existing building?
To my knowledge, we haven't decided that, no.
I think it'll be the fire administration.
I'm sorry?
You said the fire administration.
No,
That's
you
been
as a
talked
council
about, but it hasn't been.
did not move
They
forward.
even talking about, a lot.
So I think a lot of it hinges on what are you going to do with the existing building. If you sell it, no one's going to want to keep calling it the Ellen Fitzgerald. If Michael DeMayo buys it for his law offices, he doesn't want it the Ellen Fitzgerald Michael DeMayo law offices. Okay, so that will go.
Yes.
So I think a lot hinges on what are you going to do with the existing building. I also believe this is no longer about honoring a site. This has nothing anymore to do with honoring a site. Her home is gone. Her home that was there is gone. The hospital that was named for her is gone. This is about honoring a woman, the only woman that is so honored, who helped further the progress of this city. She didn't have to leave y'all that property. And the city was overjoyed in 1916 when they learned this. They had wanted a hospital. They needed one so badly. Where did you go? You went to Charlotte or you went to Wadesboro. Dr. Massey had a fine hospital over there on West Windsor Street. There's no question about that. That opened in 1912. And yes, I'm sure it was used for emergency surgeries. He had a surgical room. He had the first x-ray machine. Wonderful. But your majority of your white people would go to Wadesboro or to Charlotte. So the city joyously accepted it. I know it went through some spells when the hospital no longer ceased to function, and then it remained, kind of empty for 10 years. The hospital torn down. Senior Center was built, and the city graciously continued to name that after Ellen Fitzgerald, okay? I have absolutely nothing against the fine name of Philip Bazemore. He did a lot for this city, too. So my suggestion is this. Just call it the Monroe, whatever you want to call it. I still say senior. I have nothing wrong with saying senior. I'm a senior, and I'm a member of the center. So Monroe Adult, whatever somebody said.
Activity Center.
That's a mouthful, okay. But just name it after Monroe, because it should have the name of Monroe in it anyway. I mean, we had a Monroe Teen Center here. We have other things named after Monroe, like the Science Center. And then within there, you're going to have a lot more space and a lot more rooms. This is a perfect time to honor those. Have a room named after Ellen Fitzgerald. Have a room named after Philip Bazemore. Please have a room named after Dr. John S. Massey. He also helped further the progress of this city. And there's nothing honoring an African American, so you have a chance to do that. Each room could have something there that had their pictures, a little bit of history, so that the newcomers from across the country, because most of those people at that senior center are not from here. I know that, okay? That would give them a wonderful opportunity to go, wow, look at this. I never knew you had a hospital in 1912. I never knew this. So I think you have an opportunity to do that, all right? I think maybe it's time to stop naming things after people. You know, the city can pursue that state highway historical marker for Ellen Fitzgerald. It really wouldn't be for her. Instead, it would be for the hospital, but it would have her name there, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
All right?
Thank you very much. Mr. Yanacek, would you sign up for this, Robert? Okay, left, okay. Ms. Margaret Desaneaux will recognize you at this time. Excuse me.
Margaret Desio, 305 South Washington Street, Monroe. Ellen Fitzgerald was a fine woman. She was a very wealthy lady. She was a fine woman here in Monroe. She lived during the time of the Civil War. She left her home place, which is a huge, ornate home, and the grounds for a hospital. If you want to honor Andrew Jackson, you go to his birthplace in Waxhaw or Van Wyck, whatever. If you want to honor James K. Polk, you go to Pineville. Leave the building and the site as the Ellen Fitzgerald building. Name the Senior Citizen Center, whatever you want to name it. Mr. Bazemore was a wonderful man. I think there needs to be a plaque recognizing the site where Ellen Fitzgerald lived and the site that she gave the land. As I said, she was a very nice lady and very wonderful lady. I don't really see moving her name to the Senior Citizen Center where the EJ building was, and then also having Ellen Fitzgerald's building over on Haines Street where it was supposed to be. But as I said, I really think you need to honor the site that she gave. That's the land she gave. Why would you not use that as your target for Ellen Fitzgerald? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Is anyone else who would like to speak? Hearing none.
There was a gentleman raising his
Gentleman
hand.
raise his hand.
Oh, yes, sir. Come up, sir. Sorry, I didn't see you. Your name for the record, please.
My name is Willie Barrett.
Yes, sir.
I stay at 1010 Fairmont Street. I'm here concerning the American Legion in that area there.
Let me get to you a little bit later on that, please, sir.
All right.
Let me finish this one. I'll get back to. I'll write your name down, you Mr. Barrett. Okay. Is anyone else who would like to speak?
Apparently.
Yes, sir. Recognize you at this time, sir. You give your name to the clerk for a record.
Okay. I'm Willie Earl Wilson, 2116 Lancaster Avenue, Monroe, NC. I'm a retired agriculture extension agent here in the county. Council members, pleasure seeing all of y'all again. It's been a long, long time, and I know most of you from the time I worked here in the county. I'm just here briefly to speak about Mr. Bazemore, who I worked with for many, many years. I've known Mr. Bazemore since 1974. and that's been a long, long time. And I know Mr. Bazemore, when he was working here on the city council, I spoke to him many times about some things that he was doing here for the city council and trying to do and everything. And we often met many times at Mrs. Sherrod's house, Jeanette Sherrod's house, which Mr. Bazemore lived across the street from Mrs. Sherrod. And we would sit and talk about things that city council should need to be done, some improvements. But Mr. Bazemore was very, very thrilled to be on this council for almost 30 years. And so I just wanted to say that if naming a building after him, I think he would be very, very proud to have a building named after him if he was still alive. And I just wanted to thank y'all for so much you've done, Bazemore, and some of the other people that have meant so much to the city of Monroe. And of course, I've served on the tree board for many years here with the city myself, so I know some of the things have been very beneficial for the city. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr.
Bye.
Appreciate it, sir. I'll have this lady first, then you, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am. She'll go first. Come right on, ma'am. Your name for the
You
record.
probably couldn't read my writing. It's
3
on the
minutes,
list
please.
there.
3 minutes, please.
Okay, Moya Saltzgaber, and I live on Westover Drive in Monroe. I'm kind of in agreement as to naming buildings. I think it's about time we did get rid of names for buildings. I'm also wondering if really an old brick refurbished building that is going to be used for the senior center would really be appropriate for Mr. Bazemore. I'm aware that the city is growing, that the number of city employees is growing. I'm sure that you're bursting at the seams and looking for new spaces for your employees. I would hope the city has a master plan whereby you will eventually put up a building that will house various departments and more city employees. And I'm thinking that a brand new building named in honor of a former city mayor might not be a more appropriate place to put Mr. Bazemore's name rather than an older brick building. And Monroe Senior Activity Center, or however it would like to be named, would be great. I think the idea of having a plaque showing where Ms. Fitzgerald donated the land, because the land now is owned by the city council, by the city, and the city can do whatever it wants to with it. I mean, it could pave it over, it could sell it, or whatever. So there's no guarantee that building will stay, but a plaque identifying it for Mr. Fitzgerald would probably be a good idea. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank
We recognize you now, ma'am. Name for the thing in 3 minutes, please.
Tiffany Wilson, 717 Barbie Farms Drive. I just stand because I know I was at the last meeting when the discussion first came up, and I know there was a actual petition that went around on the internet, and within 3 hours there was over 150 signatures to leave the Ella Fitzgerald name on the new senior building. But in listening to the woman that came up earlier, I think it's not a bad suggestion to create the name Monroe whatever and give different rooms and honor different people from Monroe. You've heard different names. Mr. Bazemore wasn't the only African American that has done great things in the city of Monroe that has passed away. I take nothing from Mr. Bazemore. I loved him to death. But we also have John Crowder. I mean, there's several different people. But there's also females that are not honored. There's no buildings in the city of Monroe but the Fitzgerald building that was named after a woman. So, I mean, we need to take that into consideration also. So before you just strike the name and remove it, it's okay to put a plaque, but a lot of times people are not going to go and read a plaque. If there's no physical structure there, they're not going to go to that building. When you say a senior center and you would not acknowledge a name to it, a person's going to research it. And a lot of times they're not saying the Ella Fitzgerald Senior Center. They're saying the Fitzgerald Center. They're cutting it short. So people will say, well, who is it named after? So then they will research to find, oh, it's named after this woman who gave this property. She didn't have to do it, but she did. And so I don't think we should take away all of that. I like the suggestion to name it Monroe Fitness Athletic Center or whatever you want to call it, but honor those people. Keep her name somewhere in there. If you're going to have different locations in that senior center, name it after the different people to give them all their respected honors.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay. I'm sorry, you have a question?
Yeah. Under the consent agenda, item 9, we just passed to receive a grant from the National Recreation and Park Association for the Ellen Fitzgerald Senior Center. Most grants are specific. If we change the name to something else, we'd have to forego the grant.
Well, we can afford that and make.
I'd refer that to Mr. Chief.
Well, actually, we're applying for the instructor training grant for evidence-based physical activity programs. I don't know that it's locked into a particular named site or
It says
even a
so,
site.
yes.
I think it's for a function. Is that correct, Tanya? It's for a function. So as
Okay.
long as if awarded, as long as the funds are used for that function, there's not the grant would not be in jeopardy.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion in honoring Phil Bazemore. A lot of you may not know, just Phil Bazemore loved kids. I'll never forget one morning he and I were meeting and he looked bothered and I asked him, I said, Phil, what's wrong? He said, if we don't get them early, we're going to lose them. Well, my comment, what do you mean? He said pre-K, which primarily means the kids that didn't have a good breakfast, didn't have a good chance to make it in society. And I said, what do you think we should do? He said, I think we need to build a new building. Well, we did immediately. It's in the Winchester area in his first class. Even in his 70s, he rode to Raleigh 3 days a week campaigning for those kids. 3 days a week. That's a lot for a gentleman in his 70s. He was dedicated. He was one of the finest men that's ever served on this council. He was loved by everybody. He was respected in Raleigh. He was respected in Washington, D.C. I can't say enough good things about Phil Bazemore, and I'm going to make the motion that we name the new senior center the Phil Bazemore Senior Center.
Okay, I have a motion. Have a second.
I'll second the motion, but
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
I have a question. You mentioned the Winchester pre-K building. What does that have to do with the Ellen Fitzgerald?
That's just something Phil, it wouldn't be there if it wasn't for Phil Bazemore. I was
Second
telling
question.
one of the things he did.
Yes, ma'am.
I know Mr. Bazemore was instrumental in getting that daycare building, and he loved children, and it would appear to me that it would be better in his honor, since that was something he particularly cared for, to name the Winchester Development Daycare Center. As you said, he was instrumental in getting it, and he loved children. I would rather associate him with kids than older people.
My motion stands.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, actually, I'm sorry. I think you had 2 yes, 3 no. You had others not voting. Is that correct, Madam Clerk? You need, Mayor,
Okay, let's
if
raise the
the
hand
other
then.
members choose not to vote, those are yes votes automatically.
Okay.
So it would pass 4-3 unless you ask the members that did not vote to register a yes or a no vote.
All right. Show of hands. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. All disapprove? 1, 2, 3. 4-3. Go ahead, back. Okay. Item 17, the beautification project downtown. Who's gonna do that? Matt.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Black, Downtown Coordinator for the City of Monroe. And today I'm bringing forth a project I was working on for the past year, which is the Downtown Signal Art Box Project. It originally started back in August 9th, 2018, when Brian and I went to the North Carolina Main Street Conference. And we sort of progressed through there. We found out how they did it. I spoke with a couple of people across the nation. And I ended up going to Montana, where a group called Clean Slate Group does this specifically for these type of boxes, for signal boxes. So if you've ever been at a traffic stoplight, you see this ugly looking steel boxes. Well, we're going to try to create artwork with that and sort of showcase the artists through the area. Now, you may think, why Montana? Well, actually, they have a partnership with a group in York that will actually install it. So once we get the artist, it will go to the Clean Slate group where they do the design for the boxes. And then from there, Econolite will install it on about 12 boxes within the downtown, which are averaging about $750 per box. So you can see sort of the designs. They're also anti-graffiti as well. Here's some cool things you can do with it as well right here. You have the local artists, photography, historical, wayfinding, as well as textural. So for historical information, you can use that as well. So I come before you today because I've run into sort of a roadblock. I've noticed that other cities like Morehead City, Chapel Hill, Charlotte, and others across the state are already doing this. However, the city does not own or operate the other signal boxes within downtown, except for the one on Windsor and Main Street. So we have to go through NCDOT approval process to get this done. So what I'm asking is for council to approve the resolution to move forward with this project, which is also required in the NCDOT art application. So the resolution will go attached to the application I submit to NCDOT, and they will give me the yes or no on the project. So that's the first, the resolution. And then I'm also asking for council to consider approving the budget amendment, which will fund the project if approved by NCDOT.
How much is it going to cost?
About $750 per box, which is about $9,350, I want to say. Roughly around there for 12.
What size is those boxes?
They're fairly large. They're about, some range from 7 feet tall to 4 foot wide, like the one near Alice Jewell's. Others range from about 3 by 5, 3 by 4.
What's the life expectancy of the wrap?
Well, that's also including the application, but usually around 5 to 6 years. Some downtowns actually use that as the art showcase, and they will do it every single year. Kind of like we do for the art showcase here in the hallway, they do that for their Main Street. So every year they have a contest, but they also will get sponsors and stuff like that. And artists will donate their time, so that's how they are able to do that.
Is this time sensitive?
No, it is not. Well, it's on NCDOT time, so whatever that is. As soon as you guys approve this, then I will immediately go to work and get the application in.
So you don't have enough money in your budget, is that what you're saying?
Correct, yes.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that the money come out of Larry's fund and we move on.
No, I'm gonna get some out of Brian and Larry and his part. Take some out of all of them, okay?
I move that we adopted the resolution.
I second that.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Beautify it, make it pretty.
Move to adopt the budget amendment.
Okay, I have a motion for the budget amendment.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. The budget looks good.
Thank you guys for doing this. I think this is going to add a lot to our downtown. I appreciate it. Yes.
Appreciate the support.
I've got an idea, we ought to let the council do one of them.
Oh, God, without
That'll be
artwork.
interesting.
Okay, item 18, outside city customer water sewer fees.
Russell's
Yeah,
got it.
okay, Russ.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. For your consideration this evening is a request from ATI Specialty Materials to receive water and sewer service from the city for a new facility that lies outside the Monroe city limits. Due to the timing of the request and also the Public Enterprise Committee schedule, this is coming to you without a committee recommendation. In your staff report, there's a couple of applicable policies and contract requirements that you should keep in mind. First, our water sewer extension policy requires City Council to approve any water or sewer service that is outside the city limits. And then second, our master water and sewer agreement with Union County does require Union County Board of Commissioner approval for any city water or sewer service outside of the Monroe corporate limits. So a little bit of background. ATI Specialty Materials announced earlier this year plans to develop a new facility called Project Albert to be located just south of their current Bakers area facilities in a new campus that's being developed by Union County. And sorry, this is a little bit shiny. In context, this is Rocky River Road. This is Gold Mine. These are the existing ATI facilities. Here's our airport runway. And this parcel right here lies outside the city, and they're proposing the first phase to be this unit right here, and then subsequent 1 or 2 phases in the future, and they don't know the timing of those yet. But all that land area lies outside of the city. Union County is actually developing a new industrial park in this area called the Piedmont Innovation Park, and it lies generally south of Gold Mine, down in this area off the map, but it is also considering to include the ATI property as part of the service improvements they'll do in that business park. Our economic development staff worked with ATI regarding potential voluntary annexation into Monroe to receive all of our services. Unfortunately, ATI did notify the city that based on financial considerations, it was their intent to stay outside the city, but they still wanted to pursue water and sewer service from us. So after we received the request, we did meet with the county staff because we needed to coordinate this with them and review really the best service strategy. How can we, ATI is a great industry in our county and in our city. We wanted to develop the best service strategy that could meet ATI's needs. So we came up with 3 criteria to develop this service strategy. First, what short-term strategy could we do to accommodate this phase 1 building? They're on a schedule and they want to move forward with construction. Second, what is the long-term strategy that's consistent with the county's business park in the area and the sewer improvements they're designing and preparing to construct? And all those facilities would be designed to serve any property that did remain in the county. And then lastly, how could Monroe use our capacity in the short term and long term to help ATI meet this project schedule, but also long term free up that capacity that we can then use to attract developments to come into the city. So those were kind of the criteria we batted around with the county staff, and we came up with the following service strategy as our recommendation. For water will be provided by Union County Public Works. They have a large transmission main on Gold Mine Road with plenty of capacity. It's actually a little bit closer to the property than ours. It makes sense for them to serve. Keep in mind, the county has kind of a final say of any outside service anyway. So if the property is going to remain outside the city, the county is really going to be able to determine if they serve it or we serve. They have the final say due to our contract with them. So a good service strategy to have Union County serve the water for the first phase and all subsequent phases. The sewer is a little more tricky because the county is designing the sewer improvements for the business park. They've told us that the construction should be completed in early 2022, but that does not help ATI now. So those sewer improvements that are designed will serve the entire business park plus the ATI property once they're completed. So basically we are recommending that the city provide outside sewer service to the phase 1 ATI project contingent on county commissioner approval. That's required by the contract we have with the county. This will allow ATI to expedite their permits and schedule and build phase 1. The county staff is planning to present this outside service request from ATI at the next available meeting, probably December 16th meeting. We'll go to the county commissioners. Long term, in working with the county staff believes it's appropriate for the county to serve all properties that do remain outside the city that can use these new sewer facilities that are being constructed by the county. And as I mentioned, the county pretty much has final say for approving how properties located outside Monroe will be served. So at the time of phase 2 or any future ATI project on this parcel goes to procure building permits, it's the county's vision that the sewer flow, including potentially this sewer from phase one, would be redirected and served by the county at that time. We don't know what that date would be. So having the county serve all this property long-term in one way is beneficial to the city because it frees up valuable water and sewer capacity that we can use for other developments that do want to annex into Monroe and help us grow our tax base. So in summary, we have prepared a resolution for your consideration. We do recommend a motion to adopt the resolution, which will in effect provide outside city service, sewer service to phase one of the ATI project, of course subject to Union County Board of Commissioner approval, and also authorizing the city manager to execute any necessary documents with them.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution.
Okay, have a motion, have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I got Let me,
Yes.
Be glad to answer any questions. Yes, Mr. Holloway.
what about natural gas service?
They are planning to be served by city gas and electricity at this time.
Okay, have a motion, second. Any other questions?
So basically, what you're asking for is a temporary supply of sewage to the first thing. After that, the county takes it over, county's got the tax money, we're out of the picture.
That's pretty much it in a nutshell. This is an interim solution to help ATI move the project forward.
But we will continue with the electric and gas.
I understand that.
I mean, that's what you said, is that
Yes, sir.
correct?
That's the
Yeah, so
understanding, yes.
we don't have, yeah. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
One other question.
All right.
It doesn't need to specify phase one. We good, it doesn't have to say that we're approving this request for phase one.
He's got that worked out.
It's in the resolution.
Okay, okay.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And motion to authorize the city manager to execute any and all necessary documents.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing
Mayor,
none.
may I make
Yeah.
a comment? You want to know how big ATI is? They use more electricity than the city of Lincoln, Cornelius, and Huntersville put together. So they are a very, Chris, how big are they as far as industrial base?
Property tax wise?
No, just employees and what they bring to the city.
For the city of Monroe, they represent 7% of our entire ad valorem tax base. So no one else comes
That's pretty healthy.
close. And if you add the 2nd through the 10th, all of those consumers of electric don't add up to what ATI consumes. Same with natural gas.
Plus the gas, natural gas.
Right. It's the same situation in gas. So they
Absolutely.
are,
Very big
they are
company.
the customer for the city of Monroe.
We're fortunate to have those folks.
Tell the people a little bit about what they do.
ATI is basically one of the world leaders, if not the world leader in metal development of superalloys, that being nickel-based and titanium-based superalloys that go into anything flying. It goes into medical, and so there's probably some other uses as well, but the primary uses would be in energy, oil and natural gas, flying, and anything flying, aerospace. And so they're the anchor, cornerstone company of our aerospace cluster as well.
Very good.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, sir. Okay, with the council's, I'm gonna back up here. I'm gonna get these folks that signed up here. I need to get them, I should have called them for, Ms. Singer on file secrets.
I'm going to yield my time to Mr. Barnes because we were going to speak about the same issue, and there's no point in your hearing it from two of us.
I'm guilty. There's nothing really to say.
You yielded, okay. Okay, how about, is it Joyce, Westover, 107 Westover? Okay, no. Anyone of you, I got to sign up for 107 Westover Drive. No one here for that?
I think she spoke already.
I'm sorry?
She spoke already.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I didn't, okay. All right, how about, Mr. Barnes, and he passed. Okay, well, that'll catch us up. I'm gonna try to get this taken care of. Okay, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry?
Mr.
Yeah,
Barrett, yeah.
yeah, Mr. Brett, come on, we'll go ahead and do you now.
Mayor.
Yeah,
Bridget will be back in just a second.
okay. We'll wait. Okay. Your
Good
name
evening.
for books, please. 3 minutes, please.
Good evening.
Thank
My name is Willie Barrett. I stay at 1010 Fairmont Street.
Yes, sir.
And we've been talking about this American Legion for years, ever since I moved over there in the area. I'm one of the first residents that moved over there in 1993. And we were told when we moved over there we wouldn't have any trouble with this American Legion. But there's cars parking on both sides of the road every weekend. You can't get emergency people down through there if you have to, if you had a fire down through in there. You got them shooting, you got them fighting. My wife just had a stroke. And 3 weeks ago, there was a young man on the side of my bedroom running the shooting. I seen him get a girl the gun. She runs across my yard to my sister's house and throws the gun in the bushes. Police finds the gun, they knock on my door. It's a 9mm. And this is happening every weekend. They put a 24-ounce natural light beer bottle in beer can in my mailbox, a full beer. They even stood in front of my door and urinated. I called the police. They said they can't do that because they didn't see him. So they said document every time we call, but it does no good. I'm here to represent some of the other neighbors that I have here, and we have women over there that are single women, single parents, that are scared. Small kids are there. Bullets have no eyes, and we're trying to get something done about this. It has to be done.
Mostly Saturday nights, is that what?
Saturday nights, Friday, Saturday nights.
All right, we'll have our city manager get with our chief and sit down and see what they can get done about that, Mr. President.
Hey, Mayor,
Yes.
let's report back at the next council meeting on our progress on this, because if I lived in his house, I wouldn't like it either.
I have to pick up beer cans every Sunday morning out of my yard, every Sunday morning. I even got to the point one time I pick them up and I go over there and I throw them on their porch. Matter of fact, I'm a veteran myself. I used to run it myself, and I never had this kind of problem.
Okay.
Kids don't want to go home once it's closed. They want to sit out there, drink, laugh, and play music all night long.
Okay.
It makes no sense.
We'll have the manager get with our chief and see what we can do about that, Mr. Barrett.
Mr. Barrett, have you called the police during the activity?
We call them all the time.
And
you can call the police department. They can give you, I don't know how many accounts we've called the police.
So they don't come and run the people away?
They come and run them away, but that's after it's all over with. Matter of fact, show you when the guy was doing the shooting. They had him in handcuffs. That's before they got the gun. They let him go. They let him go. And I'm telling them, I just seen him get a girl the gun. She ran across my yard.
Okay.
We'll get on that and we'll get a report back from the city manager and the police department.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Mr. Barrett. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, let's see where we're at. 19. Item 19, recommendation appointment, reappointment to committees.
Okay.
Who's handling that?
Item number 19.
Okay.
Recommendation for appointment to boards and committees, Citizens Appointment Committee. Committee met on December 2nd, 2019. Recommends council make the following appointments. ABC Board appoints Tony Shoulder to a full term, replacing William Taft, effective 1/1/20. Term expires 12/31/22. Board of Adjustment reappoints David Covington to full-term member, effective January 1, 2020. Term expires 12/31/2022. Downtown Advisory Board appoints Carly Engler to full-term member to replace Matthew Bell, effective January 1, 2020. Term expiring 12/31/2022. General Services Committee appoints Gary Anderson to full-term member, effective 1/1/2020. Term expires 12/31/2021. Monroe Historic District Commission reappoints James Kerr to a full-term regular member, effective 1/1/2020. Term expiring 12/31/2023. Monroe Historic District Commission reappoints Jennifer Smith to full-term regular member, effective January 1, 2020. Expiration 12/31/2023. Monroe Historic District Commission had appointed Michael McCarver to a full-term regular member, but Mr. McCarver was recommended by the committee. However, he has removed his name for consideration. Monroe Stewart District Commission appoints Archie Morgan to full term, replacing alternate Michael McCarver, effective January 1, 2020. Term expires 12/31/2023. Monroe Union County Economic Development Board of Advisors reappoint Jonathan Edwards to full-term member, effective January 1, 2020. Term expires 12/31/2022. Monroe Union County Economic Development Board of Advisors reappoint Pam Sanders to a full-term member, effective January 1, 2020. Term expiring 12/31/2022. Parks and Recreation Commission reappoints Rhonda Griffin to full team term member. 1/1/20 is the effective date, expiring 12/31/2022. Monroe Safety Committee reappoints Celeste Allsbrooks to a full-term member, effective 1/1/2020. Term expires 12/31/2021. Public Safety Committee reappoints Van Davis to a full-term member, effective January 1st, 2020. Term expires 12/31/2021. Public Safety Committee reappoints Irish Sherrod Sanders to full-term member, effective January 1, 2020. Term expiring 12/31/2020. Public Safety Committee appoints Gary Anderson to full-term member, effective January 1, 2020. Term expires 12/31/2021. Those are the recommendations.
All right, have a recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion we approve those.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Need a second on
Have a
that.
motion, do I have a second? Second. Have a motion, have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, that was passed. Okay. Item 20, cancel discretionary and travel budget remainder of the year 2019. Mr. Larry. I'm sorry, you have.
I was going to
Okay,
introduce
we
this
recognize
one.
you.
Just wanted to initiate discussion and provide a little background about the remaining balance of City Council discretionary and travel funds for fiscal year 2020. Each year, each member of council receives $4,000 for reimbursement of travel expenses pertaining to official city travel while conducting official city business. And each member of council also receives $3,000 in discretionary funds for use toward a public purpose. At this time, there is a balance of $3,000 in discretionary funds and $8,000 in travel funds that are remaining from the folks that left City Council. An option to provide funding to our new council members, Councilmember Freddie Gordon and Angela James, may be in the amount of $1,500 for discretionary spending and $2,000 each for travel. That would be for the remainder of this year, which is about a half a year, but any combination, is acceptable, whatever you decide as the council.
Okay, any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Have a motion to second?
There's a motion made.
You make the
Did I get a second?
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor? Any opposed? And passed. All right. In January, just a reminder to the council, we're going to be discussing the planning and retreat and so forth in our January meeting. Just a reminder on that. And council, anyone have anything else? If not, I'll take a motion to.
So move.
I have a motion to second. All in favor? Okay. Thank you folks for coming.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, Hayden. How you doing? Good to see you.